Welcome to This Song Is Yours, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of songwriting, chat with some of the most exciting artists in the world, and explore the stories behind their songs. I'm your host, Simon Fink, and as always, thank you so much for joining us. Our guest this week on the podcast is Miss Kaninna. A proud Yorta Yorta, Dja Dja Wurrung, Kalkadoon and Yirendali woman, Miss Kaninna has become one of the most compelling voices in Australian music in a remarkably short time. Her 2024 debut single Black Britney hit number 1 on Triple J. It earned 3 ARIA nominations, making her the first independent Aboriginal woman nominated for her debut single, and it was named by Rolling Stone as one of the best Australian and New Zealand songs of the 21st century. Her debut EP Kaninna followed to critical acclaim, winning Best Independent Hip Hop EP at the 2025 ARIA Awards, and along the way, she's earned the admiration of artists like De La Soul and KNEECAP, and as of last week, can count Greta Thunberg amongst one of her many fans. This week, she releases BLACKPRINT, a new mixtape that arrives with a whole new energy, finding Kaninna at her most freestyle and rap-focused yet, a raw and urgent body of work that feels like a natural and exciting next step from everything that she's built so far. This week on the podcast, we are reuniting with Miss Kaninna to talk about how BLACKPRINT came together and what this mixtape represents for her creatively, the support that she's received from artists like KNEECAP and what that means to her, where she got her start in music, and what touring behind this new project is going to look like. Now, we want to say a massive thank you to Liz for her help with today's episode and give you a friendly reminder that BLACKPRINT is out this week. You will find links in the show notes on where you can stream the mixtape, buy an exclusive vinyl from Impress Recordings, and keep up to date with everything Miss Kaninna has going on across her socials. While you are on the show notes, please make sure you're also subscribed to This Song Is Yours and come follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. It really does help us out and it keeps you across all new episodes, guests, and everything else that we have in the works. Our playlist feature is also live on our website, so if you like curated playlists from some of your favourite artists, please head along to thissongisyours.com. However, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Here is our conversation with Miss Kaninna.
I go up tight, and I got family on both sides. I go up tight, and I'm stepping on these white lies. I go.
Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Miss Kaninna. Kaninna, hello there, friend. How are we?
Good, thank you. It's been a minute since I've seen you last.
It has been a minute. I wanted to address off the top of today's episode because I was speaking to my partner before, my wife, and saying I'm speaking with Kaninna today, very excited to be getting into this new mixtape that she's got coming out and, you know, everything that's going on with her. And even she was like, you've had her on the podcast before, you know, you've done this and this and this. And I was like, we've never actually had the opportunity to sit down and chat. We've filmed at Big Sound, at South by, a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, I'm really excited that we actually get to, you know, delve into the craft, the songwriting of Kaninna today. There is a new mixtape out this week when people are listening to our conversation. It is called BLACKPRINT. Firstly, congratulations on this mixtape. How are you feeling? How is it feeling in Camp Kaninna in relation to the mixtape coming out?
I'm so excited. You know, I've been working on this project for a minute now, and I think it's really quite true to who I am as an artist, the sound that I'm trying to explore. And honestly, I feel like it really reflects the live show a lot more, which is always good. So yeah, I'm feeling very excited and a little bit nervous.
I feel like it wouldn't be normal to put out art without a little bit of nerves. It's like a thing of that, you know, you're excited about it if there's nerves sitting there.
That's facts.
Yeah. This is the first bit of new music. It's the first collection of songs since that debut EP, Kaninna, in 2024. And yeah, I feel like there's like a different energy. Like there's a new energy with a number of these songs and how they're coming across. Was it always going to be a mixtape over an EP? Was that kind of decided when you were writing these songs, or did that just kind of come about as you found yourself with a number of different songs and tracks?
It really kind of started out just as a bunch of freestyles, kind of pushed all together. Mm-hmm. I wrote them at all different stages, but then I kind of made more songs to kind of complete the mixtape. So it was kind of looking more like a body of work, and like, you know, I'm kind of new to this music scene still, so like I don't really know what the fuck LP, EP, album, mixtape, what all that fucking shit means. I just know that I put out an eclectic of songs that started off as a freestyle, and so it just sounded right to make it a mixtape because it is a mixtape more than anything else. And I wrote, Mob Ties. Well, I wrote Stolen Wages as like the anchor of the mixtape, and Stolen Wages has really, like, I haven't released Stolen Wages yet, and like 2 of the songs on the album on the mixtape are out. Like Mob Ties is very heavy in like content and stuff like that, but I guess like all of them started as freestyles.
Did you find having Mob Ties as maybe like somewhat of like an anchor for the mixtape? Did that help in working out where you wanted to go with it, or talk about in some of the freestyles and where you kind of saw the mixtape going?
No, I think that they were all, because like most of them had been like dreamt up of or had been in progress, and then it wasn't until I kind of wrote some of the completing ones that I was like, oh, this is a mixtape, like this is what it is. It was more like I was just rapping about the things that I was experiencing at the time and where I was at with my music and what was going on in my life. But I knew also that I wanted it to be like rap heavy. I didn't really want to sing. There's no singing in this mixtape apart from like a couple of pre-choruses and Look at Me Now, wow. I knew that I wanted it to be rap, and because I just, my first song was rap, and I kind of slipped away from it pretty quickly, but I'm going back to it now.
I'm not going to lie, when listening to it, we have been lucky enough to have a listen to it before it's coming out this week. Yeah, the first distinct thing I think I noticed was like, oh, Kaninna, pardon my language, Kaninna's not fucking around. Like, this is definitely going in way harder. She's like really kind of showcasing those bars that we know that she has. As you said, there was touches of it on those first few singles, but it is exciting to see you with almost I feel like it's so silly to say Kaninna with like a fire in her belly, because there has always been a fire in that belly. The way that you perform, the way that you write
There's
songs.
a little bit more hot sauce.
Sprinkling of the sriracha of the hot sauce. Love that.
Yeah, exactly.
My understanding is that you had a hand also in producing the mixtape as well as like writing the songs and performing. How did you find that process? Was that something that is new this time around, or is that something that you've kind of been looking at as you have progressed with different songs?
I can never get Cunts to fucking listen to me when I'm in the studio, and I produce a lot of my music, and then I on my laptop, and then I take it to producers, and then they interpolate it. Or, I get in the studio and I'm always working with some boy, and he's always like, "Nah, don't worry about production. I got it. You just focus on rap." And as a young person and new to the scene, I was like, yeah, okay. And now I'm 3 years deep. I'm like, if you're not going to actually listen to what the fuck I say and you're not going to work quickly, I don't want to work with you. That's why I like work with Nicodemus so much, because he actually listens to me and we co-produce a lot of our music. He is so fucking talented and so fucking professional. And that's why we made this whole mixtape together. And I also have some other producers on there, like Lucy, who helped do Stolen Wages. But I wrote Stolen Wages by myself and gave that to Lucy, and she interpolated it, and just, she's so fucking good at getting that low end really crisp and fucking drivey. So that was insane working with her. But with Nico, I've been able to kind of dream up the sound that I want and really get the sound that I want and walk away from it being like, that's exactly how I wanted it, rather than having ideas that were always dismissed, And so this music and this mixtape is very much, my project with Nico, like my production with Nico. He really listens to me and cares about the music more so about his own ego. And like, sometimes he'll have ideas and they're lit, and then sometimes he'll have ideas and I'm like, get that the fuck out of there. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want, you're the boss. And I'm like, yeah, I am the boss. And so it's it's really good to be able to work with someone who's not so egotistical and is really just there for the music.
Firstly, I'm glad to hear that. And obviously the experience of this mixtape has been a positive one in terms of getting the result of what you want as an artist. I think that maybe sometimes is lost on certain producers or instrumentalists or session musicians, or whichever way or role you kind of want to look at, is at the end of the day, although their name is attached to it, there is a big headlining name that really, more often than not, the general public will point it towards the artist they're not looking at the liner notes. They're not blaming, if there is anything to critique, the production team. They're going for the artist. So I think that it's...
Well, I was going to say, it's really interesting because if I have a DJ or if I have any boys in my band, which I usually don't, but my DJs are usually men, after every show, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, fuck, so many people came up to me being like, oh, they must be your beats or you must have produced this. I'm like, why do they think that? Like, why do they think that? Why do you think, I don't understand what that is. Obviously, I make my own beats. Obviously, I produce my own stuff with help of other people. But just to completely just be like, oh, the DJ must be the producer. No, the DJ, I got the DJ to come up here and press play. So I don't know what you think is going on. So it's good to be able to actually like make my own music, produce my own music and be like, no, yes, this is what we produced, rather than being like, oh, this is Kaninna's writing on top of this is producers or blah, blah, blah. This is like, I produce this with Nico as my executive producer. So yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm glad to hear that. We won't harp on it too long, but that confuses me so much, only because I feel like, especially in the world of R&B, hip hop, rap, is that DJs are, unless it's like a group that has a DJ, maybe like The Roots or, oh my God, like Beastie Boys almost, is that you're like, the DJ is like not interchangeable. I don't want to be rude to the profession, but they're not like a regular touring member. It's someone that can be placed in and out relatively easy. And so it's so weird that they would then make that assumption for the artist that, it's one DJ 1 week, a different, but they've definitely not come up with it. Like, you obviously write the music to your own, like that. Yeah, sorry. Probably just a weird thing that I don't understand the mentality behind it.
I think it's like a man thing. I think it's a man thing. I think that people look at me and they think, oh, she obviously doesn't do that. So then they'll talk to the man and then they'll be like, no, I don't. So I think it's more to do with like being a female, but just another day in the colony.
Unfortunately, and I know that some people might not like what I'm about to say, but we are a simple-minded gender. Unfortunately, we don't sometimes think through what we're saying before we actually verbalize it. So I apologize. I'm wanting to understand.
I think that's
Since we first met all those years back at South by Southwest, it has been an incredible run for yourself in terms of, we've got this mixtape now, but we had Black Britney, we had Pinnacle Bitch, there was Kaninna the EP. You became a 6-time ARIA nominated artist, rappers, hip-hop legends, De La Soul, Call You the Queen. We spoke to the lovely lads from KNEECAP earlier this year and they had nothing but praise for yourself as well. Is it weird to see that project that you started a number of years ago and you being very authentic to yourself and how it lands with crowds and how it lands with people and people starting to not catch on, but I guess recognizing the talent that you, Kaninna, have?
Is it weird? It's not weird. What is weird is when you walk down the street and people fucking want photos of you. That's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I'm like getting a coffee and I look like absolute trash and some bitch will run up and be like, oh my, and I never know whether people are staring at me because they want to fucking scrap or whether they know my music. And that's weird because I am used to people staring at me for other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got a question, do you know my music or are you just trying to start some shit? I don't know. And now it's very much like when I go out, I get recognized. And I think that's what is more weird because I've always wanted to be in music. I've always wanted to be a performer. I always think, you have to have some type of self-confidence, and in no way do I think that I'm fucking better than anybody else, but I definitely think that my music is worth listening to. So it's I think the reason why I get along with these people you're talking about, like De La Soul and KNEECAP, is yes, it is the music, but I think also it has a lot more to do with like where we're from and what we're trying to do with the music, and what music is a vessel. Like it really is just a vessel for me to could talk about the things that I've been through and what my community gone through and talk about real fucking political issues, and not just my own political issues, other fucking political issues, because we're all intertwined, So I think, getting along with those people that you mentioned, it's because we talk about things outside of music. It's not just music orientated. And although, I do think that my music is definitely growing and the career is definitely growing. I think that these people actually fuck with me because we talk like people, not like industry people, because the industry is so fucking sterile and shallow and fucking lame, and they care about stupid fucking shit. Whereas like a lot of these people you've listed off, they care about people. So yeah.
I feel like both those artists and yourself as well, and not to kind of use a word that is overplayed, I feel a little bit, but I feel that KNEECAP know how to speak to their community of fans in a way, and De La Soul, similar thing. And I think the same can be said for yourself in terms of that you know how to speak to your community of fans and they love you because of the authentic nature of yourself, not necessarily the fact of the music, but that is a big part as well. But the fact that you unapologetically Kaninna and speak your mind on more universal topics than maybe, don't get me wrong, love songs are great, songs about heartbreak are great, but that there's more outside of that. There is more in the real world, and that you actually kind of give an opinion and a perspective on that.
Yeah, I think in a world saturated full of club music, I think it's really easy just to kind of like be worried about trends and worried about what's going to pop off on TikTok and stuff, rather than like, I don't know. I think it's really important also just to like, as a fucking person, like as a human, like regardless of whether I'm on stage, whether I'm a musician, or whether, you know, you work in a fucking cafe or you work in a fucking packing center. I think that as a fucking person, we need to be having more conversations about the political and economical climate of the world. And I think that that's what me and my listeners have in common, what KNEECAP and their listeners have in common. You know, if you've been to a KNEECAP show, you'll realize that it's more about bumping shoulders with some cunt next to you that you know that if the police rocked up, you would have each other's back. You know, it's very based on morals and shit. And like,
yeah,
all of those fans, all fans, I feel like there's a very big, there's like, you're either fucking with it, you're on the fence, or you're not. And I think with my fans and my listeners, sorry, I think that we like, me too, I like the sense of community and trust and safety in opinion and about what's right.
100%. Wondering whether you might share with us, because not all musicians, not all songwriters are kind of born from that same, or cut from that same cloth, if you will. It does take courage. It does take a lot of power to be able to stand your convictions and get that across in music. And as you said, to varying degrees, the music industry does have some less positive sides to it, is probably the best way I can say it in such a general sense and in such a quick and concise sense. But wondering whether you might share your introduction to music and where you found yourself as a songwriter, and the ability to speak truth to all the things that you do speak to in your music. Because again, I feel like it is a skill that not every songwriter or musician has, and it's something that's very powerful and what's the word I'm looking for? I would say unique to yourself. I feel like that we haven't seen an artist like Miss Kaninna in the Australian music scene for many, many a year. And so wondering, whether you might share what originally attracted you to music and songwriting, and then where you learnt the skills that you now have to be able to be Miss Kaninna.
I really like, I mean, it's going to sound silly, but I really like performing. I really like attention. I really like the way that it makes me feel. I really like, you know, when I was a kid, the way that my fucking house is set up is like, there's like, it's like the lounge room, and like there's like a hallway through the lounge room, and there's like 2 doors on either side. And so like I would make my whole family, like, because, you know, my mum's brothers all lived with us. You know, my mum's brothers are like 14 years older than me. So I grew up with all my uncles and their kids, and there's fuckloads of us in this fucking house. And I used to, being the oldest cousin, I used to make everybody sit in the fucking lounge room, like 10 of them. And I would like dress up and like tinsel or like whatever the fuck we had laying around the house. And like, even we had this huge afro wig that my nan had, and I would put that on like leotards and stuff, and I would like open the door and like do a little fucking skit, and then like go out the next door and pretend it was like a stage. And so for my whole life, I remember doing that, and and my family never let me forget it. And I always was into poetry, like a lot of poetry. I'm very dyslexic, so I can't read or write that well. I'm exceptionally good reader and writer now after doing my degree because I was forcing myself to learn those words. But, you know, being heavily dyslexic, I feel like sometimes the words that I usually supposed to use, I don't use. I use alternative words. Purely because my vocabulary wasn't that big, but I had ideas of words and what they meant, but not really that full understanding of grasping them. So I would write poems and they didn't really make much sense. But my mum would always be like, wow, these poems are so fucking deep, Kaninna. And I'll be like, are they? Fuck. But I always thought that someone was going to come along and like hand me my career. I really did. I really thought that if I was like pretty enough or like people saw my potential enough, they would like some fucking dude from Sony would come up to me and be like, we're going to make you a star. And I kept thinking that. And then COVID happened.
Mm.
And I was like, you know, desperate to do something because the world was ending in my eyes.
Mm.
And I really thought it was going to fucking be over. Like, I really did. I was like, fuck, like, we're going to have no food. We're going to get invaded. And this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be a fucking nurse and you're going to get worked. And you're going to get COVID and all your family are going to die. And then what? You're going to tell everyone you wanted to be a singer? How fucking lame. And then I started writing my own music during COVID because I really thought that it was going to be over. And then I wrote one fucking song. And then because COVID was like locked the fuck down, I worked at a bar. And the guy who owns the bar is also in a band and he was releasing music and he was like, why don't you come and open for me at the uni bar? And I was like, what the fuck, are you on fucking drugs? I was like, I've done one fucking song. He's like, whatever, just do a bunch of covers. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, it's COVID, like nobody, like, it's chill, like people are gagging to go to a gig and we'd just had lockdown, so nobody was going outside, there were no gigs, there were no international acts. So I did this one show and like it was pretty much with friends and family. And then I did like Britney Spears, Rihanna, Beyonce, Sneaky Sound System, and my one song, and like Erykah Badu. And then since then, I just kept getting booked because it was COVID. And there were no artists and nobody was doing anything. So they were like, well, she can do it. So then I was just doing it. And then I was getting like 5-6 festivals, random shows, opening for people, warehouse gigs. A lot of my friends were throwing our own parties. And then I started becoming friends with musicians down there. And we were throwing house parties and performing at their mum's 50th, and it just kind of like turned into that. And then I was like, fuck, I have to write some more music because like people think I'm a cover artist. So then I started really pushing my pen and writing music, and I downloaded illegally Logic Pro and I started making a bunch of little beats and like a little R&B songs. And I would take it to the band and I'd be like, can you guys learn this? And then they would be like, yeah. And then we would do that. And then I was like putting up singing videos on Instagram and shit. And then the Sapphires production reached out because they saw my singing videos. And they knew that I was Yorta Yorta from the same tribe. And then I got that gig and I was cast as the lead Sapphire for the national tour. And then I quit nursing and went on this tour. So songwriting has never really been something that I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write this song and then this is how it's going to happen. It's like I write poems and now I have to fucking write a song because these people think that I wrote Naughty Girl by Beyonce and I fucking didn't. So I need to write some shit. And so that's kind of how it came about.
I do.
Long story short.
I do kind of love though that it has resulted in this. For some, it might not be wanting to sit down and write music. And I love that as a COVID obviously had a number of terrible things that it brought, but as a byproduct, as a silver lining, I think that we did have some creatives who almost did like what you said in terms of like, well, everything's ending, might as well do it. Like, what can I, like, there's no point in me not trying. And that it has obviously resulted in an incredible career where now we're lucky that you're somewhat forced to write more songs, but it is also poetry as well. It's like a silver lining two ways in a way, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
I'm hoping you might be able to share a little bit of an insight with us. Look at Me Now is one of the tracks on this mixtape. I absolutely loved that track. The little saxophone sample that's in there in the chorus is Chef Kiss wondering whether you might be able to tell us just like, I guess maybe what
Thank you.
inspired that song, of course, or like where it came from.
So I've known Nicodemus before Black Britney. He's been following me when I had like 1,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always this nerdy little Greek boy that I've kind of like seen around but not ever given the time of day. And he volunteered his time for an event that I put on at Camp Sovereignty after the Nazis attacked our sovereign camp. And me and Becca Hatch put on a fundraiser to reclaim space. And he was one of many people, but very few who volunteered his time for the whole time. Everything about that festival that we put on was like 5,000 people there, was based off community and free time.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing we paid for was like the generators and like I think the drop toilets. They're the only thing we paid for. And everything else, all the sound system, all of the fucking people working on the sound, all the people who were working the stalls, all the people who did like anything to do with that fucking day of festival was all based off of fucking free time. And Nico was one of the people who provided so much support for us in a time that I really needed an ally and I really needed someone. And then after that, he reached, because I posted on my story a few weeks after that being like, who wants to make R&B music? And he replied being like, putting my hand up. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll give this fucking white dude a go because he's proven to me that he cares about me as an artist and me as an Aboriginal person. And he knows, you know, I'm not just going to fucking step into the studio with no man that I don't fucking know, let alone make music about fucking black power with some white cunt who can't even be bothered coming to a Change the Date rally. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll come and see you. Why not? And I knew that he was really good at live instruments and flute, trumpet, and sax in particular because I've seen him play before many a times with like Kuzic and shit, like really, really top artists. And so I got in there and I was like, all right, so I want you to make me a song where you use all of these fucking instruments, okay? And I want to see how good you are at these instruments. He was like, bet. And so I showed him a couple of songs that I wanted it to sound like, and we made that song in one go. And I was trying to impress him and he was trying to impress me and really just did it. And then I hadn't written the second verse yet. And I thought, as soon as I wrote it, I said, let me wait. I could write this whole thing or I could go out and I could look for someone who I also think has been an inspiration for me, who's made it from nothing to something, and look at them now. And that person for me is Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe is that for me, and he still is that, and he still will continue to impress me and push the bar of what it means to be an artist, what it means to be a black artist, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a black man, what it means to be a dad. He is so, he's so inspirational to me as an artist, and I think that he deserves everything that he gets.
I kind of love that though. Thank you very much for sharing that, because I know sometimes, especially when this mixtape is so fueled with obviously different perspectives on things that kind of, I guess, looking further into the insights of what the song is about or what inspired or whatever it may be, it can be slightly daunting. But yeah, I very much appreciate you sharing that with us. I do want to quickly mention, I'm aware of the time that we have together today. The BLACKPRINT Australian tour is going to be taking the country by storm, I want to say, in August and September. Once this episode comes out, there'll be a whole bunch of new shows announced as well. You're coming down to see us in Adelaide, which I'm very excited about. We'll be coming to see you. Shows have been sold out for a little while now. Venues are being upgraded. How are you feeling about the tour? And is there a certain track that you're looking forward to performing in that live space off this mixtape?
I'm honestly really excited to share with everybody the openers that I'll be bringing along. I think it's, I'm trying to create a whole night for people. I want to create a night that used to be, when I only just got the end of this, but before COVID, it was like you were getting ready for the event to be at the event when it started. Hell, you were even going to pre-drinks before. So you could watch the opening act. So you could fuck around and be drunk for the main act. So you could hang around afterwards and get your shit signed. So you could then go out afterwards. Like now people just kind of like, okay, it starts in 10 minutes. All right, I'll go down there, quickly do it, and then go home afterwards. Fucking lame. You know what I mean? We need to bring back live music culture and bring back having a good night like that again and what that looks like. And I'm not talking about like drug and alcohol focused. I'm talking about experience focused. I'm talking about going to an event and then leaving and then people writing in their journals. I am so excited for this tour because I do a lot of shows, but I don't ever really do a lot of my own shows. And so it's rare that I get to curate a night based on what I want. I like the lighting, how the night's going to go, who's going to open, where the venue is, that type. I can't really dictate that type of stuff, but now I can. I'm really looking forward to creating an experience, a memorable experience for people, and give people hope that the live music industry has not failed them, and I think what I'm mostly excited for is just the people to come and listen to the new music. And I'm going to be playing a lot of new music as well, like music that I've been writing over the last couple of weeks as well. It's going to be not just the BLACKPRINT and some of my old music. It's going to be what you can expect from an album as well. I'll be teasing some stuff from my album.
That is incredibly exciting to hear. I'm very much looking forward to these shows, and also could not agree more in terms of gig and show etiquette, in terms of people rocking up early to see the openers, not talking, like go outside if you guys want to talk or catch up, and also not sitting down during the openers as well. That's just my own personal pet peeve of certain concerts.
We will not be having any of that. We will not be having any the kind of musicians that we're bringing. It's not giving sit down as well, which is really good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm going to be running some merch comps. Some merch comps as well. I'm going to give away some free merch to people who come early, and just kind of reward people like that as well. I think it's so important also because although they are coming to see me, I want to see them just as bad. I want them to come just as bad. So yeah, I've got stickers. Actually, I've got a sticker right here.
Nice.
And all sorts of fucking bad shit for the people who come early to my shows.
I'm very excited to see how this tour goes. I'll make sure that all the tour dates are in today's podcast show notes for people to purchase any remaining tickets by the time this comes out. I'm confident in saying there's not going to be a whole lot left, but we'll put them there anyway in case there are for those remaining
Adelaide
tickets.
better not be fucking playing games.
I will have a word with everyone I know. Look, lastly, Kaninna, we usually ask our guests what they're currently listening to at the moment. Is there anything that's on high rotation for yourself?
Yeah, I've been listening to, I think it's called Boy I Am.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Boy I Am by Mekdes, Mekdes.
Okay. I have not heard it. What kind of vibes are we sitting with?
It's like R&B.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's about a trans boy who has a partner and wants to be accepted for the boy that he is, not the girl that he is.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Cool. I have to give this a listen. Thank you very much for the recommendation.
Please do.
I do want to say a massive thank you to Miss Kaninna for coming on to the podcast. The brand new mixtape BLACKPRINT is out this week. When people are listening, we'll make sure there are links for people to purchase the vinyl, I believe, in the show notes. Catch these tour dates and follow you across social media. But Kaninna, as always, it has been an absolute pleasure catching up with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.